Hey guys, it's Jason Cook, and today I'm going to be talking about the dark side of music. Dun dun dun. Okay, so we already know how amazing and healing and powerful music and sound can be to transform our future and to transform our lives. But what about the dark side of it? And I think it is just as important to talk about the dark side of music and how it can be used so that we can be aware, so we cannot fall into these types of traps or toxicity, and have it being used more as a weapon than as a medicine. If you guys have been kind of in sync or in tune with how things are moving and in the world, you'll notice that these past few years have been a time of great exposure and of things being revealed, and companies and politics and even people in our everyday lives of things coming to light, the curtain being ripped off, and we're seeing the true intentions and the integrity that lies behind these things. And it's causing for some very dark things to be revealed and to come to light. And we can see this in things like in Hollywood, like with Harvey Weinstein, and a lot of the scandals and corruption that has been going on. And we can also see this in a good way, where companies, like small companies, or these people who have been true to themselves and have good morals and integrity, are starting to blossom. They're starting to come up to the surface and get more recognition for these things. So it's a very transformative time, and it could be very scary if you have been dishonest, but it could also be really fun if you have been very honest and true to yourself, because this is the time to shine. This is the time where this stuff comes out in the open. So with music, I feel like there's a lot of stuff going on in the music industry that has not come to light yet. And I'm expecting that these years to come, that there's probably going to be a lot of things coming to light about the music industry. This is just my own perspective. It's not like a prediction. It's not like this is going to happen, but judging by how things are going, I feel like that's something that's going to be happening in these years to come. So to talk about the dark side of music, I'm going to go into this and start by talking about concerts, raves, and these music producers and stuff like that, and things like that. So I'm going to talk about a personal experience that I had, because that's really what I could go off of, is only my own personal experience. So with that, keep that in mind. This is not absolute truth straight across the board, everybody's like this type of thing. This is things that I've picked up on my own intuition, and things that I've experienced. So let's talk about raves. This is going to be something that might upset people, it might rub them the wrong way, but you know what? I feel like it needs to be talked about. I have not seen anybody else talk about it in this way, and I feel like there's a lot of light that needs to be shed onto this type of situation. And my intuition has always told me, something feels off, and typically when your intuition tells you that, it's probably because something is off. So I have never really been that drawn to raves to begin with. They just didn't resonate with me. But I always had friends and stuff try to urge me to go. I'm like, oh, it's so much fun, you'll love it, it's your kind of people and whatever. And so there's been a couple cases where it's why not? I'll go. Maybe it's for a birthday or something like that, just to try it out. And each time I've gone, I've come to the same conclusion, and I've had the same type of experience, and it is not a very pleasant experience. The things that I've picked up there, the things that I've felt, were opening the doors to something much, much bigger, to what's going on behind the scenes of these things, beyond the veil, that the general public, I think, is just not aware of. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about, and how music is being used negatively to affect people, rather than to help heal and transform people. I was invited to go to a concert. It was kind of like a rave concert, and decided to go. Okay, I'm gonna have a good time. I'm hyped. It's gonna be fun. I mean, I love going to concerts anyway, you know. But this one was different. This one, the energy there was just, it was so overwhelmingly like, wow, there's a lot going on. And what I noticed was there was this huge presence of these negative, these darker, lower density beings, these parasitic type beings. There was a huge presence of them. I mean, there was just as many of them there as there were people. And so there's just like this huge mix of these dark entities and these people. And I was like, okay, wow, this is really big. There's something going on here that, I mean, like, this is fishy. I've never been to an event that had this many parasitic beings there at one place at one time. And I mean, it was just like this energetic feast for them. And that's when I really started to see what's going on. And you have the artist, the main artist, okay, and you got them going on the stage, and there's this very egocentric energy going on where it is very much like, yes, like, I am a god, like, give it to me, like I'm a champion type of energy. And it was just this really big ego rush for them. And you had all these thousands of people just like cheering them on and feeding all of them their energy. And so you got this big energy exchange. You got all the people in the crowd. Think of that, thousands of people in a crowd all pouring their energy out onto one person. That's a lot of energy. That's a big rush. I don't care who you are. That's powerful. That's a powerful thing to experience. And so he's receiving all of that. And a lot, like I said, this isn't the case for all artists, and this is not the case for all concerts, but this is what I experienced at this particular one. So all this energy is coming in. He's taking that in like, yeah, you know. And right behind him is an entity that is feeding off of that. Okay, so it's kind of like this energetic pact that has been made. I'm not saying this is literally what happened, but this is like a little metaphor of how, you know, it went down on an energetic basis. It's like, okay, you got this entity coming in, and it's like, all right, man, I can make you famous, I can make you rich, I can get you all the women that you want. And it's like, all you got to do is pair up with me. We can work together. I can get you what you want. And, you know, of course, someone who wants that is like, no, yeah, hell yeah, it sounds like a good deal. So they join in, and now, you know, it's like, okay, now they're rich, they're famous, they got their part of the deal, but now you got this entity kind of attaching to them and draining them all of their energy, sucking it out, and using them and their art skills to draw in people in bigger crowds to kind of feed this being. So now they're having these concerts, and they're just feeding his ego. Yeah, man, this is you. You're great, you know. And you're like, wow, really? Wow, I am amazing. I am awesome. And you get this big ego going on that they just keep feeding. So then you get bigger crowds. And you got all of these people pouring all their energy into you. And then right behind you, you get that being sucking it right back out of you. And that is not healthy. And so what I was picking up at these concerts and at these raves and stuff was, this is a very big, what's going on in the music industry is what I feel is this very big multi-dimensional feeding. You know, a concert is this place where all of these darker entities come and they feed off of people. Yeah, I did not like that feeling. And I mean, it was just everywhere. I was like, wow, like, okay, wow, like, let me do some protection spells around me. You know, like, wow, okay. So that's just one aspect of it. The second part of this is the music. How does that play into this? So when you're attached to this entity, let's say, you know, you're this artist and you're attached to this entity and you're channeling, which, by the way, anytime you make any type of art, whether it's drawing or music, that's a channeling state. When you are making music, you're channeling that music from something. So the music that he's channeling it from this entity or entities, I don't know, and those are the ideas that are coming through. So he's producing this music. Now, I will say this, they are some good producers. They are very skilled. They are good at producing. They can make some good, clear, well-produced music. But what you'll find that's missing in the music is depth, is substance. When you go to these shows, the music feels very shallow or empty or void. And it's just like ear candy. It's just like sounds that feel good. But there's not any emotion or love or depth to it. And so that's the kind of music that he's going to be channeling in and producing to play. So what this is doing at a big scale is this music that he's channeling in is very specifically made to a certain type of vibration, a certain type of energy, which is exactly what he's tapping into. And this energy that is being projected out, that you're listening to when you go to this concert and it's being just boom, 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 boom out into you, is programming you. It is absolutely programming you, and it is kind of shaping your views, shaping your perception, and to keeping you into this small box. And it is emanating out of you. It is drawing out of you your pains, your traumas, your insecurities, all of these deep wounds that you are carrying on. It's bringing them out and then keeping you in that state. So then you keep making actions and living your life from that type of state. And that's very toxic. And the dynamic that I see going on here is actually very comparable to a narcissistic and empath type of relationship. When you have, now this is obviously going on at a bigger scale, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to explain that dynamic a little bit. So when you have a narcissistic person and an empathic person getting into a relationship, the empath will plug their energy in. And, they will just pour love and admiration into this person. That person just takes and takes and takes and takes. And pretty soon what goes on down the road is that person will start to be drained. They'll start to be tired. And they'll start to really feel bad about themselves and have a very low self-worth and a lot of self-hate. And they'll start to feel confusion, and they'll start to feel like all of this emotional mess. They're depressed and like all of these things. And they're thinking, what's wrong with me? What is wrong with me? And they really do think that something is wrong with them. And, in the meantime, this narcissist will just keep taking and taking and taking. And it's like, yeah, you know what? I think something is wrong with you. And they're just taking and taking until there's nothing left to take, or until that person finally snaps and breaks and cuts that relationship off. And then that's when they'll start to realize what was going on. And it turns out that they are not worthless, that they're not crazy, that their emotions were trying to tell them. They were trying to tell them that something is going on here, that this person was taking all of their energy and it was bringing out of them these parts of themselves. And so what I see when I go to some of these types of concerts is I see that exact dynamic. I see that exact energy. And I see myself. It's like, wow, I'm seeing how I remember what it was like to be in that kind of relationship. I remember what it was like to feel that type of instability within myself, and I'm seeing that exact reflection in a lot of these people, the exact same type of energies that are coming up. When I'm seeing myself in these people, and I'm seeing the things that I remember when I was in this kind of relationship, what that would resonate, that would bring out of me, and like the type of madness that brought me to finally become aware of what was going on. And I'm seeing that same dynamic play out, but on a much bigger scale. Instead of a one-on-one type of relationship, you've got this icon, maybe several different icons, and you've got millions of people plugging in to that. So it's happening on a mass scale. And this is also the dynamic that you start to see in like cults and how cults get started. It's that narcissism, egotistical type of dynamic playing out. And toxic relationships is like the small scale of it. Cults and this kind of music industry thing that I'm saying is like a really big scale. You've got multiple icons, you've got millions of people feeding that energy, feeding that ego, and you got this plugging into other entities that are then sucking that energy out, and he's just the medium for it. So as you could see, this is very toxic, and the things that it brings out in people are not always the best, and you can even see this in like not just the music that is being played upon, but even the symbolism in the screens and in the digital stuff and the lights. Like I'm seeing a lot of the symbolisms I see is like the objectification of women and the exploiting, people's insecurities and their weaknesses. It really is just this big mass energetic feeding going on, and I don't know how big this goes. I don't know how far up this goes, but this is definitely something that is going on. And it's also a lot of programming and kind of just programming you and keeping you in that state, and then it keeps you coming back like a drug. Okay, so it gets you in that state where it programs you, and then just teases you with maybe good sounds and little trickles of things that maybe feel good, and then you just keep coming back. Now you're hooked like a drug, and now you got to go back and you got to get your fix in, and it's very a stuck feeling. I thought this was interesting. I used to watch a show when I was a kid, Samurai Jack, but there's an episode in that where Samurai Jack goes to a rave, and you got the rave, you got all the teens there, and they're all dancing and dressed all crazy, but then the DJ, he like say, oh, Aku's got this new song. Aku's like the dark guy, and he plays this new song, and you see the music playing, and all of a sudden everybody in the audience, just their eyes turn red, and they get into this like mind control state, and they start destroying everything. And that was the episode where Samurai Jack had to like fix that or whatever. But when they come back from that state after the concert, they didn't even remember all of that, and they're just, oh wow, fun show, right? Yeah. And I remember watching that episode, and I was like, I think, wow, like that says something. Like I am not the only person who was picking up on this, and so I feel like that says something a lot. One of the big things about this, and one of the ways that you can tell if this is affecting you or not, is look at your life and reflect on your life. Because this programming that is going on is not just something that happens at the concert or at the event. This is something that happens the weeks after. Okay, that's like the initial programming. It's like, okay, this is the codes, this is the programming, that's the feeding, and then what happens the days after, the weeks after. And if you want to know if you're being affected by this, see how you feel after going to these shows. The next day, do you just like crash super hard and you just feel super depressed, and you don't know why, and you just feel sad and depressed, and all you want to do is just kind of go back and get that fix again? Are you feeling drained? Are you feeling, are all these darker memories coming up? Are you feeling regrets? Are you participating in behaviors that maybe aren't necessarily true to who you are? How's your relationships? Do you keep attracting the same kind of relationships? Are you attracting toxic relationships? Are you keep attracting that, person that's always lying and cheating? What about your relationship with your parents? Are you resentful at them? Do you hate them? Are you guys always butting heads and fighting all the time? Are you struggling to find a job? Are you struggling with work? Are you struggling with financial issues? Are you struggling with health? Are you at this constant battle with your health, including mental health? All of these things can point to, maybe this is something that is affecting you. And another big thing is, how do you feel about yourself? Do you love yourself? Or do you hate yourself? Do you think that you're a piece of crap? Do you think you're ugly? Do you think that you're worthless? Do you think you're just like the scum of the world? And, you're an outcast. You're the misfit of society, and screw the world. Nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about how you feel. You're just some scum teenager or young adult. Who cares? F them, right? If you're in these types of life situations and you're thinking these kinds of thoughts, let me tell you, first off, it's not true. That is not who you are. You're not alone, and you are completely valid for everything that you feel and for all the reasonings for that. But bigger than that is the programming. That is the programming. That is what the music is telling you. That is what is feeding you, and that is how it's affecting your life. And if you keep finding yourself in these struggles or in these situations, then that's when you can take some time to see, how can you find your truth again? How can you connect back with yourself and break out of that cycle? And a big thing of how these entities work and to how this programming works is that they can only get to you through your own pain, through the parts of yourself that are unhealed. So that can be a really big thing where they can show you where it is that you need healing, and you can use this to transform. You can say, wow, this is the stuff that's coming up, and it's bringing that up to surface, where it's like, now I can see what needs healing, and that's where you can go to do that. Go heal yourself in that aspect. And if you heal your insecurities and you heal that pain, then they can't use that against you. You can't draw out that trauma if you've healed from that trauma, and they cannot keep you in that box of acting from that place if you've already moved past that and have a different perspective. You'll become invincible, you'll become strong, and you won't be sucked into that wave, sucked into that water, those waters. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to how you feel and what's going on in your life. And I think it's really, really, really important for me to point out that if you are in these situations, if this does resonate with you, that this isn't coming from a place of judgment or criticism. I'm not saying that you're wrong or that you shouldn't be doing this or whatever. It is okay to be where you are. It is completely 100% to be where you are. And whatever reason that you have for being there, whether you're happy to be there or you're not happy to be there, it's okay. You're young. You got your whole life ahead of you. But ask yourself, what is it that you are actually seeking when you go to this? What is it that you really want? And a lot of the times when I could just kind of narrow it down, when people are drawn to these things, one of the big things that they're seeking is love and acceptance and connection. Once again, that's completely valid. That's something we all want. But I have good news for you, is that that's not the only place that you can find what you're looking for. You're looking for love, but you're looking in all the wrong places. And what this can help you is to go within yourself, go inside, and find that love and that acceptance for yourself. And use that. Go inward. And connect with yourself. Take a step back. If you're confused on this, maybe you're not sure. Maybe you're not sure what you like going to concerts, but you're not sure which ones that you really want to go to. Maybe you practice discernment. Like I said, not all artists, not all shows are like this or involved in this type of thing, but really connect with yourself, heal those parts of yourself, and use discernment to feel for yourself what type of what are you putting your energy into? What are you feeding? What type of show does this feel like to you, and how do you feel afterward? I'm talking about weeks afterward. And find your truth, find your voice, and remember, if you are in those states or in that type of situation, like I said, look at it like a relationship. Then look at it like that and see if this is a relationship that you need to walk away from. Is this a situation that is bringing out the best in you or not? What types of thoughts are you having after these types of shows? And really see, and if you are thinking these self-hating thoughts where you're thinking like, I'm nothing, I'm crazy, I'm a mess, I can't do anything, I'm just this piece of crap, I want to state this and be very clear, is that you're not. You are worthy, you are capable of so much more than what you can even comprehend. You are powerful beyond belief. Like, you are this incredible, miraculous being. And if you weren't, then all of these parasitic entities wouldn't need your energy, would they? And the fact that they need to feed off of you says something about how powerful that you are. So remember that you are powerful, you are loved, you are supported, and look inward. Don't seek outward for this validation. Don't seek outward for this love. Start connecting with yourself. Start going back inward and loving yourself. Be easy on yourself. You are valuable. You are a great person. You have gifts that you probably haven't even tapped into yet. So remember this, And be forgiving on yourself, be forgiving for others, be gentle, and if this is something that you're ready to hear, then I hope that this has helped you and made an impact. If this is something that you're not ready to hear, maybe that is something that you just need to play through it. You just need to go through that whole experience to learn. Everybody's on their own path, and that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. But just be aware of the dark side of music and how these things can be used against you rather than for you. And love yourself. Discern for yourself which shows feel right for you and which don't. That'll be your best tool to understanding that. So thank you guys for watching my video. I know this was a bit of a longer one, but thank you. I hope you guys enjoy your day. Have a good week. Have a good spring, whatever. Thank you, and peace out.